right, welcome back to another video and welcome back to the channel. Now, something we all think about is dying. Whether you want to or not, it lives in your head. The fact that you're gonna die one day is something that you really can't stop thinking about. It's something that I can't stop thinking about. Now, some people have, happier views, more so religious people. They, think about what's gonna happen in the afterlife and that it's exciting. And some people are just totally crushed at the idea that we might not have an afterlife and that we are just going to be asleep, basically. But I found a video called Oh Death, so I guess it's going to talk about death. I probably won't watch the whole thing because it's 21 minutes, and it is 1:41 a.m. right now, and I'm so tired and I have to get up early. But I'm going to try and get through this or some of it. And yeah, let me know in the comments below, do you think about death? Because I know there's a lot of people that just live their life and never think about death. And I don't see how that's even possible. Are you even alive? So yeah, let's check out the video. Oh, death.
Often, I think about dying. Now, I consider myself a reasonably intelligent person. I'm capable of forming coherent thoughts on a number of subjects. But thoughts of death shatter me entirely. I am helpless. I am horrified. I realize that in the words of Leo...
The thing I think about is there's no point in thinking about death. Because as much as you think about death, it's like thinking about your next meal. It's like you're gonna eat, right? So it's no point of thinking. I mean, I guess you could think how much food you want or what food you want. That was a bad comparison, but it's like I don't know. It's like it's just pointless. It's like how Neil deGrasse Tyson argues that philosophy is pointless because it doesn't. It's nothing we can move forward on. It's like. Thinking about death is just gonna put you in a circle of you're just walking in circles thinking about it because you aren't gonna get anywhere. That's what I'm trying to say basically. You're never gonna have an answer. You're never gonna have an answer for death. There's never gonna be an answer. We're just all gonna figure out one day.
Tolstoy, as I live, I am being stuffed into a big, dark sack. My warmest memories appear and immediately rush back into the past. The smell of the Atlantic springtime, picking blackberries with my mother, running through the garden and catching fireflies in jars. These memories I love so much.
That is genuinely sad. I'll never be able to be a kid again. I mean, I guess I am. I'm 19. Some people will call me a kid. Like a 38-year-old man would be like, yo, that's a kid. So I guess I still am a kid. But the days where I was like 8 years old, dude, back in 2014, just... miss those days. 2013 summer, just being outside, the hot sun. It's just a time you just can only memorize because it'll never be back. And I do miss that, being outside with my friends. I don't even know half of those people anymore. I couldn't even label those people as my friends because now they're just ghosts to me. It's sad. So sad.
Become only reminders that one day I must die. And suddenly every year is passing more quickly than the last. This dread comes from the unknowable and unstoppable nature of death.
Every day you live is a closer day to your death.
Why do we die?
That is a real quote.
What does death mean? If we die, why do we live? These questions are perhaps the most well-trodden of all.
I'd rather live and die though than never exist. There's this really deep quote that Neil deGrasse Tyson said. He said, I forgot what it was. I pretended like I was just gonna go on a spiel, but the summary of the video is basically we should feel lucky to live because most people that could exist never will. So we should value our lives instead of, living every day like it's hell. Because he said there's a lottery and some people will never know there even was a lottery. So basically implying that people that could exist won't exist. But we exist and we should take pride in that, and enjoy life. Enjoy the sunsets, enjoy the sunrises, enjoy the people. That's why I say big thing I'm on. Live every day like it's your last. Never. Don't live in the past. Don't live in the present. Don't live in tomorrow or next week. Live now. because you don't know if you have next week. Live now. So yeah, that was something that was one of my like yearbook quotes.
History's greatest thinker.
Well, my yearbook quote was "Life is only precious because it ends," because that's just a true statement. But that's something I thought about adding. But that's definitely a tattoo I want to get. Life is only precious because it ends. I love that quote. I don't even know if that's a quote. It's just such a nice string of words. You know, I think everyone should hear that because I feel like their mood would just go up hearing that.
Have pondered over death. The wisest, most talented.
I'm only a minute into this video. How long have I been recording for? This is pitiful.
Talented humans our Earth has ever produced have attempted to tackle this subject. Yet, they have all failed. But why? Where do I go from here?
Answering death.
As far as I can...
You can... There are philosophers who spent their entire life wondering what happens after death. You will never have an answer until you die.
Two places.
And you might not get an answer. Like you literally, death might just be a blank slate. You might not even realize that you're dead. And so you never get an answer.
We can seek an answer to death, man and nature. Man presents us with science, and in the subject of death, science offers a white flag in a war. Science can tell us the biomechanical, physiological realities of death. It can tell us what happens to your body when you die and how your body then decays. While academically interesting, this does little to bring clarity.
Well, yeah, but your consciousness isn't you. You know, like this is my meat sack for the however long I live. But the person that's in me speaking, you know, sharing my point of views on life and having different opinions, that's not who you're looking at. You're just looking at the shell I'm taking. You know, that's everyone you meet. You know, you don't like the person you see right now on camera. Yeah, this is my body, right? But this isn't me. This is just a body that I'm in. So I believe that we have something in us that makes us us. You know, like not a soul kind of like a soul. Something that makes every person special in a way. Because you know, a lot of people you meet, you know, yeah, you may know them. Like a lot of people you're close to, you may know them, but you don't know them like they know them. You know, it's just a way to think about
death does nothing to help a person make peace with dying. So I find the world's greatest scientists rendered somehow into uselessness. Moving past science, we can look elsewhere. Spiritualists, philosophers, whoever, they've all examined death. I've read many of them. The might of all of this intellectual force has been hurled at death time and time again. I still find no answers. Lots of questions, but no answers.
Yeah, questions.
And surely I can expect nothing more. People are writing about things they know nothing about. When they so beautifully theorized about death, they had not died. They were as ignorant then as I am now. These writings are window dressing. Beautiful, but ultimately without function in the face of death. I'm being shoved into a sack. Do I want it to have spots or stripes? Of course, there's also God, religion, man's greatest shield against the reality of death. I have a deep admiration for the religious, to have such faith, such conviction in a storm of arguments to the contrary. I believe this requires a tremendous and unique strength of character. But like so many, I cannot bring myself to believe in God. I'd like to believe in God, but I'm not strong enough. I cannot look at the world around us, even with all of its beauty, and take seriously the idea of God. What God gives a child cancer? What God sends hurricanes to the poor? No God of mine. Religion can have no place in my conversation with death. Without other solutions, I often look to nature. Here we have vultures, hyenas, insects. These creatures all thrive off the deaths of others. In nature, animals die and leave opportunities for the other members of their ecosystem. I do find beauty in this phenomenon. How could a person not? I wish this could provide me with some great comfort, but I still find myself running into that same concrete wall.
I mean, animals aren't conscious, though. Animals are, I don't know how to describe it, but animals don't know they're going to die in a way. You know, we are from the day we are born. I mean, well, you don't know you're going to die when you're an infant, but point is, like, when you're like 8 years old, you know you're going to die. You may have at age may at that age have already been to a few funerals. You aren't grasping the concept of death, just like you wouldn't with God. Like I that's why I wouldn't force my child to be religious, because they aren't gonna. When I was 8 years old, I wasn't seriously believing in God. I was just being like, yeah, man, yeah, sure. So, I mean, the same way that a child would look at that, they don't think about death in that way. Like they don't think about it. They kind of realize it because it's just a innate emotion or a feeling. But I mean, they don't really think it don't really hit them that they're ever gonna die. You don't really think about that until later in life, because you're so caught up in having fun and doing and you shouldn't think about dying at the age of 8. That's depressing, but you should enjoy your life. But it normally hits people later in life, who maybe went 50 years without even thinking about it. And now they're like, wow, I got about 50 more years, realistically. So, yeah. And it's scary because you don't even know if you have that long. I mean, I'm 19 now. I might die before I'm 30. I might die before I'm 50. Hell, I could die next year. Who knows? We're all in this this race to death, basically.
The conclusion of nature does nothing to abate the paralyzing feeling I get when I think about death. You see, reason and hope become grotesquely...
I've come to terms with it. I mean, in a way that now I can't say that in the moment of my death that I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, man, this is it. I'm calm. I'm ready to go. I can't say that. Because if you told me I'm gonna die tomorrow, I would panic and I would not be able to sleep tonight. But I think in a way of thinking about it, I've come to terms with, the idea of death. I'm not afraid. I'm afraid of dying, but I'm not afraid of like the pain aspect. I'm like, when it's your time, it's your time. It's not that you can't fight it. You can't fight death. If you're supposed to die, you're going to die. That's the thing. So I think that part is calming.
Meaningless.
And also knowing that I don't have to be here forever, because I wouldn't want to live forever.
Posed with these questions. The truth that I know with all of my body is that there can be no answer. In fact, the only answer is the hopelessness I feel when I think about death. And so all I can do is live. The only thing I can find that is an approximation of an answer to this dilemma is just that, life. How can a person really live with death looming over everything at the end of every day? Many philosophers and authors have discussed
your
this.
Brain just naturally just doesn't think about it. Because I think thinking about death all day isn't healthy. I think the less you think about death, probably the happier you are, honestly. I think about death a lot. I think I'm pretty happy. I just don't think about it in the sense, oh, I'm going to die one day. I just kind of realize it.
Question. Unlike their conversations of death, their conversations of life in the face of death can provide some earnest direction. In 1879, Leo Tolstoy had published War and Peace as well as Anna Karenina. He had earned his place among world literature, hailed as a genius. After being born into wealth, Tolstoy had become famous for doing what he loved the most, and yet he felt entirely unfulfilled. Promise of achievement had been broken. Tolstoy was spiritually, emotionally lost, despite a life that should have produced the opposite. It was in this state that he wrote The Confession. This roughly 100-page essay outlined his quest to find the meaning of life, and specifically the deep depression that he fell into upon concluding that life was meaningless. It discusses melancholy, suicide, depression, and misery. It is one of the most heartbreaking, arresting...
I don't think life's meaningless. I think if life was meaningless, we wouldn't be here in the first place. I think there's a meaning in life, and my meaning of life is to have the most fun I can and play Grand Theft Auto 6. In all seriousness, I feel like the main reason of life is to have fun. Do the most you can before your time is up. That's honestly what I think. Do as much as you can, know as many people as you can, because there are so many people alive right now that I would never speak to. And that's sad because we all existed on this earth for so long together. We never talked to each other. I feel like that's a lot of people today. They stay in their own lane their entire life. They don't talk to anybody, but they're also at the same time depressed because they can't make friends when they're the one bringing it on themselves. So I think one thing you should never do is be shy. And I understand I can't speak for everyone on that matter, but I feel like if people, we got to talk more, like we got to get to know more people, because this is all we got, man. And once all of us die, then that's the next generation. We're all dead. Well, we can't come back. So it's kind of depressing.
Essays ever put to paper. And in these pages, I have found my only comfort. Tolstoy begins with his decreasing interest and belief in religion. He says that he only believed in God because his elders had instructed him to, and even then, the belief had been shaky. Throughout Tolstoy's early years, perhaps his truer religion had been art. He sought fulfillment in his art, poetry, writing, and in the circles of geniuses that he associated with. Tolstoy had once held a great faith in the arts.
What am I watching right now? Am I watching Waves?
But it was one that began to wane. The people in his circle, including himself, were paid and praised highly for their work. The public said they were arbiters of profound ultimate truths, that these artists were enlightening the world. The artists themselves believed it. How could they not? But Tolstoy eventually realized that for every great writer's idea, there would be another who wholly disagreed with it. So he wondered how any of these people could really be arbiters of truth if they themselves didn't even agree on this truth. Tolstoy observed that his peers simply hung out with people who praised them and rejected those who didn't. So every artist believed themselves to be correct. His faith in the arts as a driver of meaning crumbled. Instead, he began to look at the concept of progress. Live to make progress. Within progress, one could find fulfillment, Tolstoy believed. He would have a family, create a one...
progress is a good way to live. I mean, I think the main... When I'm on my deathbed and they ask me, are you happy? And I'm either going to answer yes or no, depending on the memories I have. Because I think you live for memories. At the end of the day, when your life flashes before your eyes, all of the decisions that you made, they don't really much matter. All of the embarrassing things don't really much matter. It's the memories you made, the good memories. Bad memories may pop up too, who knows. But the good memories. A lot of people say in their final moments, their life flashes before their eyes. So, I mean, I kind of believe that to be a true thing that actually happens. But it's more of a thing of memories, making memories. I want to have the most memories possible. Like when I'm old and if I live that long, I want to be able to tell my grandkids, hey, I did this crazy shit when I was 17. I used to post on YouTube when I was 19 years old in college. I used to do this and that. And so they know that they need to make memories, because one day they're going to be my situation, hopefully enough. So, yeah, man.
Dangerous life and just make progress. But years into this, Tolstoy traveled to Paris. There he witnessed a public execution. As the prisoner's head fell into its box, Tolstoy began to question this concept of progress. This disillusionment continued with the death of Tolstoy's brother, Nikolai. He was a kind and intelligent man when he fell ill in his mid-20s. Nikolai suffered for over a year, eventually succumbing to an agonizing death from consumption. By Tolstoy's estimation, Nikolai never understood why he lived, why he suffered, nor why he died. In the face of this reality, what good was progress?
Like the idea of what's the point of progress if your life can be taken? I mean, that's for anything, though. You could make $1 million and someone could shoot you in the face, and then what was the point of making the $1 million, What was the point of doing anything if you could just die? I mean, you could die at any moment. You could fall down the stairs. You could swallow wrong. You could breathe wrong. You could fall wrong on your neck. You could die any second. I think that's a bad way of looking at life, looking at progress, because, I mean, in a way, we're all going to die, so what's the point of doing it? That's more of like a nihilistic way to look at it, But
still clinging to this idea of progress, Tolstoy began to teach young peasants in Russia. However, he quickly realized this was futile. Tolstoy himself did not have what they needed to learn. Whatever knowledge would have improved their lives, provided them fulfillment, Tolstoy himself could not identify and didn't even have. So his teaching became an impossible task. These experiences all crystallized in a deep, dark time of depression for Leo Tolstoy. In confession, he says this about his pursuit of progress. I still had not understood that in answering that one must live according to progress was talking just like a person being carried along in a boat by the waves and the wind. Such a person replies to the only important question, where do we steer, by saying, we are being carried somewhere. Tolstoy had always thought the meaning of life and death would come to him, that he would find it eventually. But now it became clear
Yeah, that's what a lot of people think until they get 80 years old and they still don't have an answer.
it wasn't going to happen.
But I think accepting that you won't have an answer is healthy.
Questions came up over and over in his mind. In the confession, he compares them to tiny black points. They were few and far between initially, but were coming together to form a single, unignorable, dark stain. They were, he said, like an illness ignored by a patient. The symptoms occurred with increasing frequency until they turned into one continuous duration of suffering. And suddenly, the patient would discover the truth. What was once a mild illness had now become death. Tolstoy was a famous intellectual. He had access to the greatest knowledge history had ever produced. No library would refuse him entry. He could sit down and have conversations with the wisest men in the world, and so he did. But through all of this, Tolstoy found no answers. He was instead overtaken with an intense depression. His thoughts turned to suicide, and these suicidal ideations became as normal to him as self-preservation once had been. To end his life felt as
Suicide is never the answer.
natural
If you want to figure out what death is,
as eating.
even then, you should never take your own life. I mean, that's in your own hands, but I would never advocate for that. But
or sleeping. To prevent himself from taking his own life, Tolstoy removed all the ropes from his room. He stopped hunting with a gun. In the confession, Tolstoy likened this time to having climbed a
I was
mountain.
like obsessed with the idea of death.
He was as successful as he could have ever been. He had reached the summit, expecting a wondrous view. Instead, he stood there like a fool, having found only an empty wasteland. In time, Tolstoy found himself with a new conclusion. Not that he didn't have the answers to life and death, but instead that these questions simply didn't have answers.
Let's just part at the end. My grandmother. I'll watch this and then I'll probably end it off.
I was raised, along with my sister, by a single mother through early childhood. She worked a lot, as one must, to support 2 children. So my grandmother often took care of me in my mother's absence. Most days after school saw my grandmother, as did weekends and most of the summers. 2020, my grandmother had a stroke at the age of 93. She went to the hospital, largely not herself, physically or mentally. That night she suffered another stroke and a heart attack. Having signed a do not resuscitate order, my grandmother died that night in the hospital. She was accompanied by her husband of some 70 years. In my
Wow, 70 years.
20s, my relationship with my grandmother had deteriorated some, just by virtue of distance. I'd moved to a new city 1,000 miles away, but we still spoke on the phone here and there. The last thing my grandmother ever said to me was this: people like to say life is short. Don't listen to them. Life is long. I think death can be a lot of things. It can be an enemy, a pair of shackles, a companion, or something else entirely. My dread will never go away. I will never have answers to the question of death. I will still lie in bed and think about dying, with regularity, likely for the rest of my life. I dare not delude myself with ideas of legacy. All people die. Some just take longer. But my hopes are twofold. First, that I can be ready for death somehow when it comes. And second, that in the meantime, I can live. That I can find true joy in all that entails. Indeed,
Yeah, that's all you can do in the meantime is live.
I believe I have plenty of time to do so.
What did she say at the end?
Indeed, I believe I have plenty of time to do so.
Wow. Such a good video. Wow, I love that video. The part where all people die, All people will die. Some just take longer. Wow, great video. I love this guy. Love his narration too. I love the art style. I don't know what I was looking at for half the video. It was flowers and trees and waves and roads and train tracks. But hey, I got the message you were trying to say, man. So yeah, but let me know in the comments below. Do you think about death a lot? Does death scare you at all? Let me know.
Often.
Do you think about it a lot? I tend to, but like I said, I'm starting to, fear it less. I don't know why that is, but I don't know. But yeah, let me know in the comments below. I'm gonna head to bed. It is almost 2 a.m. pretty much. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time, let me know what I should react to in the comments because I'm noticing you guys are starting to watch more. So yeah, let me know what I should watch in the comments below. So yeah, till next time, guys. Peace out.